Welcome to the Prime Desk on S24 Television from the capital city, Abuja, bringing you the latest news in Nigeria and around the globe. I am Hadiza Galadima, but first, the headlines. FG declares Tuesday public holiday for Eid al-Maulud. Russia-Ukraine exchange over 200 prisoners. And now, the news in full. At least 46 people died following a boat accident in Guro community, Goroyo local government area of Sokoto State. The boat, which was reportedly carrying 77 passengers, capsized on Thursday, leaving several people dead and others missing. Authorities say 15 passengers have so far been rescued alive, while 16 others remain unaccounted for. The Sokoto State Police Command said rescue efforts were immediately launched following the incident. Local divers, alongside personnel from the National Emergency Management Agency, the State Emergency Management Agency, and the police have been deployed to search the area and recover victims. The tragedy has thrown the Goro community into mourning as families continue to await news of relatives who were on board the boats. Authorities are yet to establish the immediate cause of the accident. The incident has renewed concerns over safety on Nigeria's inland waterways, particularly the availability and use of life jackets, the condition of boats, and the enforcement of safety regulations. Police in Kaduna State said they have rescued 75 travelers who were abducted by armed men along the Birnin-Gwari axis of the state. The victims, including children traveling in commercial buses, were reportedly taken into a forest and held inside a cave after gunmen attacked their vehicles on Wednesday evening. The Kaduna State Police Command says its tactical team has rescued 75 travelers abducted by gunmen along the Birnin-Gwari axis of the state. The incident occurred at about 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 19, 2026, when the attackers, reportedly armed with AK-47 rifles and other sophisticated weapons, intercepted commercial buses carrying the victims. According to the police, the gunmen forced the travelers into a nearby forest before taking them to a cave located in the mountainous area where they were held captive. The rescue operation followed timely information provided by the Birnin-Gwari branch of the National Union of Road Transport Workers. Acting on the information, a tactical team from the Birnin-Gwari Area Command moved swiftly to the location where the victims were being held. The arrival of the police team reportedly forced the kidnappers to flee, leaving all 75 victims behind. Police said the travelers, including the children, were rescued unharmed, while security operatives have intensified efforts to track down the fleeing suspect. Kaduna State Commissioner of Police, Rabiu Muhammad, commended the NURTW members for their swift response and the police personnel involved in the rescue operation. He urged residents to remain vigilant and promptly report suspicious activities while warning against taking the law into their own hands. From Nigeria's ambitious tourism plans for Bonny Island to Africa's growing struggle with climate shocks and rising living costs, the pressure for sustainable development is becoming increasingly urgent. And as Europe battles deadly heat waves, the latest developments are putting resilience, climate adaptation, and sustainable investment firmly at the center of the global conversation. Olawale Omotego reports.
The federal government has unveiled a comprehensive blueprint to transform Bonny Island into a global tourism destination. Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa described Bonny as a jewel of Nigeria's coastal heritage, rich in history, culture, and biodiversity. The plan outlines new investment in transport infrastructure, eco-friendly resorts, cultural centers, and maritime museums aimed at attracting both domestic and international visitors. Traditional leaders, including the Amanayabo of Grand Boni Kingdom, welcomed the initiative but emphasized that development must respect local customs and protect fragile ecosystems. The blueprint, officials says, could create thousands of jobs and position Boni as a model for sustainable tourism across West Africa. From tourism to climate, Africa faces mounting environmental and economic challenges. Reports from multiple journalists highlight how climate change and rising fuel costs are driving up food prices, straining households and small businesses. Women farmers who form backbone of rural agriculture continue to face limited access to land and financing. Across the continent, droughts and floods linked to El Nino have disrupted harvest and displaced communities. Experts warn that Nigeria lags behind regional peers like Egypt and South Africa in climate resilience and tourism competitiveness. Despite vast natural potential, calls are growing for inclusive policies, renewable energy adoption, and stronger adaptation strategies to safeguard livelihoods and ensure food security. Finally, to Europe, where record breaking heat waves are intensifying political tensions. Since June 2026, extreme temperatures have claimed thousands of lives and strained public health systems. Green parties across the continent are demanding urgent national and EU level action, including heat adaptation plans and accelerated emission cuts. In Austria, Lean City Councilwoman Eva Schobsbach is championing urban cooling maps, tree planting drives, and district cooling systems to protect residents. Meanwhile, far right populists are exploiting the crisis to criticize government climate policies, deepening divisions. Experts caution that Europe may be approaching the limits of adaptation, underscoring the need to phase out fossil fuels and invest in long term resilience. Olawale Omotago reporting for S24 Television.
Calls are mounting for greater government support for veteran football as the Abuja All Stars International Invitational Veterans Tournament enters its sixth edition. The competition has grown from 8 teams in 2021 to 21 teams this year, with organizers highlighting its role in promoting fitness, friendship, and continued participation in football. Speaking on the tournament, Coach Abdulrazak Jibril urged the federal government to invest more in venture football to boost sports development and support retired players. S24's Hajara Suleiman has the reports.
The ongoing Veterans Cup. I think this is the fifth or sixth edition, if I'm not mistaken. And they started last week, and they have been doing well. All clubs have been, you know, up and doing. I think the Veteran Cup is one of the best things that have happened to Abuja football. The players who have played for a very long time and then retire actively. So the people who organized it, the organizers, they came in and said, "Oh no, we can't just stay like that. Some players are not doing well, but they still love this game and they cannot play. Okay, let us do it this way. 40 years and above, and if you are 40, you are still active. You can't play, except if you have retired." Honestly, I think the government need to do something about that. And now this is the seat of the government, which is the FCT, isn't it? If we can come up, if the government can come up to say, oh, since this veteran is being played by people who have retired, we have other good players who are now with the NFF. You understand? They can facilitate it so that the government can come in and support them. They really need support. by the time they come in and support, it will be a good thing for the veteran organizers. It will be easier for them. Like the ones who played previously, there was no VAR. But the one who played last year, there was VAR. You understand? Anything that happens, there's no argument. They will just tell you, VAR will just call and say, look at this thing. And then the referee will come and check. And, what we see happen in Europe is there. And I think I so much commend them. The officiating is okay. Everything is perfect. If, okay, all the previous years we are using the Go project, but last year we started using the national stadium. So if the organizer can see, forward their ask the government, to please assist them. It's little by little, little by little. When you make things plain for people to see, then people will come in and say, oh, this thing is good, let us go in. Like the Champions League is good, Abi. People want to be there. The World Cup is good, people want to be, the Nations Cup is good, people want to be there, and so on and so forth. So if the veteran too key into that system, I think the government will support. And I'm very sure that with the caliber of organizers they have, the kind of people they have there, the government will soon key into it.
Hajara Suleiman for S24 Television.
Now in politics, Peter Obi has formally kicked off his campaign ahead of the 2027 presidential election, urging Nigerians to subject political promises and candidates to tougher scrutiny. The presidential candidate of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, called on citizens to ask difficult questions about the state of the country and demand clear answers from those seeking their votes. Obi's message comes as political parties and presidential contenders intensify preparations for the 2027 general elections with security, the economy, unemployment, education, and healthcare expected to dominate the campaign. The former Anambra State governor has consistently argued that Nigerians should look beyond political slogans and assess candidates based on their records, competence, accountability, and the ability to provide practical solutions to the country's challenges. He is expected to use the campaign to present his political agenda to voters and make a case for what he describes as a new direction for Nigeria. The 2027 contest is expected to generate heightened political activities as the major parties and opposition groups mobilize supporters across the country. Moving on, women's health is increasingly being recognized as a key driver of sustainable development across Africa. At the Her Health, Her Power Conference, Africa 2026, held in Abuja, stakeholders called for greater investment in women's health, leadership, and empowerment as essential pillars for the continent's future. Martha Opalanidu reports.
Can Africa truly
Apologies for that. Moving on, the federal government has declared Tuesday, August 25th, 2026, a public holiday to commemorate this year's Eid al-Maulud, marking the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, announced the declaration on Friday in a statement issued by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Magdalene Ajani. The minister extended greetings to Muslims in Nigeria and across the world ahead of the celebration. Tunji-Ojo urged Nigerians to reflect on the values associated with the life and teachings of Prophet Muhammad, particularly compassion, humanity, sacrifice, and service to humanity. The minister also called on Nigerians to use the occasion to promote peace, unity, and peaceful coexistence, stressing the importance of tolerance and mutual understanding amongst citizens irrespective of religious or ethnic differences. The federal government urged Nigerians to celebrate responsibly and peacefully while reaffirming its commitment to protecting lives and properties across the country. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has opposed the bail application filed by 10 defendants arrested during a raid on an alleged clandestine methamphetamine laboratory in Ogun State. The agency told the Federal High Court in Abuja that the suspects were allegedly connected to an organized operation involved in the production of illicit drugs at a facility valued at about 480 billion naira. Defense lawyers had asked the court to grant bail to the defendants, arguing that they had constitutional rights and should not remain in custody indefinitely. The defense also raised health concerns in relation to some of the suspects. However, NDLEA counsel opposed the application, arguing that the defendant could constitute a flight risk if released. The agency also drew the court's attention to the nationality of some of the accused, including 3 Mexican nationals. The NDLEA said investigation into the alleged laboratory uncovered equipment, chemicals, and other materials suspected to have been used in the production of methamphetamine. The court has adjourned a ruling on the bail application until September 2nd, 2026. If you're just joining us, you are watching the Prime Desk on S24 Television. Stay tuned for our international news coming up after the break. Thanks for staying with us. From a rare moment of humanitarian cooperation between Russia and Ukraine to the courtroom drama surrounding the death of hip-hop legend Tupac Shakur, 2 major stories are attracting international attention. Russia and Ukraine have exchanged more than 200 prisoners in the latest swap, offering a rare sign of cooperation despite the continuing war. And nearly 3 decades after Tupac Shakur was gunned down in Las Vegas, the murder trial of Dwayne KVD Davis is now bringing new and previously recorded accounts of the night before a jury. Noella Samuel has the reports.
Russia and Ukraine have exchanged 103 prisoners of war, each in their latest prisoner swap, in another rare point of cooperation between the 2 countries despite the continuing conflict. The exchange took place on Wednesday, with the United Arab Emirates acting as a mediator. Ukraine said those released included personnel from its armed forces, state border guard service, and national guard, while Russia also confirmed that 103 of its servicemen had been returned. The latest exchange is significant because it comes at a time when broader efforts to end the war remain difficult. While diplomatic negotiations have struggled to produce a lasting peace agreement, prisoners' exchange have continued to provide one of the few areas where Moscow and Kiev have been able to reach practical agreements. For the soldiers and their families, however, the significance goes beyond diplomacy. Some of those released had spent years in captivity, with former prisoners describing the isolation and emotional toll of being held away from their families. Ukraine officials have also indicated that another prisoner exchange could take place later this month, potentially involving some Ukraine defendants who were captured during the fight in Mariupol. And from a prisoner exchange involving a war that has lasted more than 4 years to a courtroom revisiting a murder that has remained a mystery for nearly 3 decades. Nearly 30 years after the killing of a rapper Tupac Shakur, the trial of Downey Kefedi Davis is underway in Las Vegas. Davis, a former gang leader, is accused of orchestrating the 1996 drive-by shooting that killed the 25-year-old music icon. He has pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors allege that Davis helped organize the attack following a confrontation involving Tupac and Davis' nephews, Orlando "Baby Lane" Anderson, earlier that night. Davis is not accused of being the gunman. Prosecutors instead argue that he played a central role in organizing the attack and providing the weapon. And now prosecutors are putting some of Davies' own words before the jury. During the proceedings, jurors heard a 2008 audio recording in which Davies told police that his nephew, Orlando Anderson, fired the fatal shot at Tupac. Davies also acknowledged that he was inside the white Cadillac from which the shooting occurred and said he passed a gun to Anderson before the attack. But the defense is asking jurors not to believe Davies' earlier account. His lawyers argued that Davies exaggerated his involvement over the years for publicity, attention, and financial gain, including through interviews and a 2019 memory. That has created a central question for the jury. Were Davies' previous statements genuine admissions, or were there stories he created to build his public profile? The trial is expected to continue for several weeks and has revived worldwide interest in one of the most famous unsolved killings in music history. From the release of prisoners caught in a devastating war to the search for answers in a murder that has haunted the music world for decades, these are among the stories commanding international attention. Noella Samuel, S24 Television.
Women's health is increasingly being recognized as a key driver of sustainable development across Africa. At the Her Health, Her Power Conference Africa 2026 held in Abuja, stakeholders called for greater investment in women's health, leadership, and empowerment as essential pillars for the continent's future. Mata Opalanidu reports.
Can Africa truly achieve sustainable development if women's health continues to be treated as an afterthought? That question echoed through discussions in Abuja as health experts, policymakers, and advocates gathered for the Her Health, Her Power Conference Africa 2026, themed Leading with Wellness for a Sustainable Africa. Convener of the conference, Dr. Vitri I. Njoku, called for a new era of advancing women's health through leadership, collaboration, and empowerment, stressing that improving health outcomes is essential to building stronger communities and a more sustainable Africa. The keynote address also highlighted the importance of affordable healthcare, economic empowerment, and ending gender-based violence, with a reminder that investing in care is not taking away from the economy, but building it. During a panel discussion on reproductive health, speakers challenged the stigma around asking questions, insisting that curiosity should never be mistaken for promiscuity. They also identified misinformation as one of the biggest barriers to quality healthcare and called for informed decision-making that takes into account patient needs, affordability, and access.
So every woman that you lose, you're losing economy, you're losing money, because women make up 70% of 50% of the population, over 50% actually. So investing in women's health is not just a health issue. It is an economic issue, just the way they mentioned. And I believe that we are not losing. Every person or every woman that you invest $1 in, you are getting about $7 in return.
For many at the conference, improving women's health goes beyond better healthcare. They believe it is a strategic investment that can strengthen families, improve productivity, and drive Africa's economic growth.
The women are the mothers of the society. And even when you come to election voting, they are the ones who vote. So we must build around them, we must support them, we must encourage them.
Participants also expressed hope that the conversations will translate into practical policies and lasting reforms, ensuring that women's health remains a development priority rather than an afterthought.
At the end of the day, I do hope that policies are put in place and people can see the ripple effect of very important conversations like this, because after conversations are had and policies are put down, nothing translates until it is at the doorstep of the everyday Nigerian.
As stakeholders push for greater investment in women's health, the message from Abuja is clear. A healthier Africa begins with healthier women. Martha Opalanedu, reporting for S24 Television.
Now, a break from politics and current affairs as we bring you the latest from the world of entertainment. If you're still watching, this is Prime Decks on S24 Television. We now move to our explainer segment. Stay with us.
I'm busy. It's something we hear almost every day. Whether it's work, school, business, or family, everyone seems to have something to do. These days, being busy is often seen as a good thing. The busier you are, the more people think you're working hard or doing well in life. But that's not always the case. Being busy doesn't always mean you're getting important things done. Sometimes we fill our day with so many tasks that we forget to rest, spend time with loved ones, or even take care of ourselves. We become so focused on doing more that we hardly stop to ask if what we're doing really matters. Working hard is important, but so is finding balance. At the end of the day, success is not about how busy you are. It's about using your time well and making room for things that truly matter.
Let's now join S24's Quiet Liners for a roundup of the biggest entertainment news making waves today.
Nigerian Afrobeat singer-songwriter Oscar Banks is making steady progress as he works towards establishing himself on the global music scene. The emerging artist has surpassed 250,000 streams across major digital platforms, marking an important milestone in his growing career. His progress comes alongside an international partnership with Strain Louvain Music Worldwide Limited and growing attention around his latest release, Astra. Known for blending contemporary Afrobeats with Afrofusion, Oscar Banks is gradually carving out his sound in Nigerian competitive music industry. The singer is also reportedly exploring a possible collaboration with an established Nigerian Afrobeat star, although details of the proposed project has not been officially confirmed. With plans to spend time in Europe and connect with music professionals and creators, Oscar Banks appears focused on taking his sound beyond Nigeria. Meanwhile, Maven record boss Don Jazzy has reflected on Arya Star's journey, describing the singer as a dream girl. The music executive commented on X while responding to a fan who praised his role in Arya Star's career. Don Jazzy recalled discovering the singer through an Instagram freestyle before eventually signing her to Maven Records. He said Arya Star has not only transformed her own life, but has also had a significant impact on his. The singer has since grown into an internationally recognized Afrobeat star, with her latest album, Stargirl, featuring collaborations with artists including Wizkid, Rema, Zayn, and Leon Themus. And in Hollywood, Vin Diesel is celebrating 25 years of the Fast and Furious franchise. The original, The Fast and the Furious, premiered in 2001, introducing Diesel as Dominic Toretto, alongside the late Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor. What began as a street racing film has grown into a global action franchise centered on cars, high-stake missions, and, of course, family. At a 25th anniversary screening in Los Angeles, Diesel reunited with original cast members Michelle Rodriguez and Jordan Brewster. Paul Walker's daughter, Meadow Walker, also attended the emotional celebration. Diesel paid tribute to his late co-star and reflected on the friendship they built throughout the franchise. Fans are now looking ahead to the final chapter, Fast Forever. Production is expected to begin in December 2026, with the film scheduled for release on March 17, 2028. From Afrobeat, Next Generation to one of its biggest stars and a Hollywood franchise that has defined action cinema for decades, these stories highlight the continued evolution of entertainment across borders. Linus Kiet, S24 Television.
Thanks for staying with us. Now happening in the world of sport. Ronaldinho is back at 46. Lamine Yamal is being tipped for Ballon d'Or glory. And Crystal Palace are closing on a new defense signing. Uduakan Goswell reports.
For Ronaldinho, the beautiful game is calling once again. The Brazilian legend has returned to professional football at the age of 46, joining Italian Serie C side Ravenna FC as both a player and shareholder. Ronaldinho has not played professionally since 2015, but now he wants one more test of competitive football with a specific personal target. The former Barcelona and Brazilian star is aiming to score his 300th club career goal in an official match for Ravenna. His return has already created huge excitement with thousands of fans turning out for his presentation. According to the club's owner, his signing is not simply a publicity stunt. For Ronaldinho, it is about rediscovering the joy of football and inspiring a younger generation. And while one former Ballon d'Or winner is returning to the pitch, another young star is being tipped to win the award. George Mendes believes there is only one name that should be on the Ballon d'Or. The Portuguese agent has backed Barcelona and Spanish star Lamine Yamal to win the 2026 award, describing him as a genius who cannot be compared with anyone else after his season. Yamal's case is certainly strong. He helped Spain win the 2026 World Cup and played a key role as Barcelona claimed the La Liga. At just 19, he has already established himself as one of the biggest stars in world football. But Mendes' claim that Yamal is the only possible winner is a bold one. The Ballon d'Or race still has other major contenders, meaning Yamal may have to wait until the final vote to discover whether his incredible year is enough. And while Barcelona continue to build around their young star, another Premier League story is taking shape. Crystal Palace are closing in on the signing of Axel Disasi from Chelsea. The two clubs have reached a verbal agreement for the French defender to join Palace on loan, with Disasi undergoing his medical. Chelsea will receive a loan fee while Palace will cover the defender's salary during this spell. For Palace, it is a move that adds experience and versatility to their defense. For Disasi, it offers another opportunity to revive his career after falling out of favor at Chelsea. The 28-year-old has Premier League experience and can now look forward to another chapter in London, this time in the colours of Crystal Palace. So, Ronaldinho is chasing one final moment on the pitch. Lamine Yamal is chasing the biggest individual prize in football, and Axel Disasi is looking for a fresh start. 3 stories, 3 different journeys, and plenty more to watch as the new season takes shape. Udokan Gotspa, reporting for S24 Television.
This brings us to the end of the Prime Desk on S24 Television. But before we go, a quick recap of the top stories. Do join us tomorrow, same time, and remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates and breaking stories. My name is Hadiza Galadima. Bye for now.